When people think of the worst training in the military, a lot of different areas come to mind. People think of Special Forces for the Army, SEALs for the Navy, Recon for the Marines, Pararescue for the Air Force. What if I told you that these are some of the hardest, but there's one piece of training that every service member goes through? One that, in my opinion, is the worst. Hi YouTube, Gavin here. In this video we're going to talk about Reception Battalion. For me specifically is 30th AG at Fort Benning. Now, I haven't thought of reception in a long time, but the other day I was talking to one of my buddies that's thinking of joining the military, and I thought of something my recruiter told me before I went in, and it's once you get through reception, everything else is downhill from there. I'm going to share what made reception stand out to me and what made me think it was worse than infantry training and honor guard training. Time of year is a big thing. I enlisted right around Christmas time, so once I got to my reception battalion, the majority of the staff were on their Christmas block leave, which meant that instead of being in reception for about 5 days, I was there for over 2 weeks long. So when you're enlisting, really think about that, because if you're enlisting around a big federal holiday, then you're going to be there much longer than you have to be, and things are going to go a lot slower for you. There's a lot of videos out there of what happens when you get off the bus, get yelled at a little bit, stand some footprints, and get ready to go through the reception process. But the very first thing you're going to do is go into the amnesty room. There's about 10 different cubbies that each person will go through one by one and empty what they're not supposed to have. What they're looking for is things like tobacco, maybe alcohol, stuff like that you're not supposed to have in basic training. But some people bring things that you wouldn't really imagine people would need in basic training. The thing that I distinctly remember is in my group of 10, someone brought a brand new box of condoms. And the drill sergeant definitely took notice of that, because they won't see you put in there, but it all comes out in a big chute. And then the drill sergeant would go through and see what people thought they would need for basic. So drill sergeant got pissed, and we all stood there for what felt like half an hour parade rest, just because he wanted to see if anyone would say anything and own up to the condoms. Again, it's amnesty, but sometimes they play little games like that. So don't bring things that you're never going to need in basic training. When you're on that plane and taking that bus to wherever you're going, try to get as much sleep as you possibly can. So you're going to get there about 11 o'clock at night. You're going to start filling out paperwork, and then you're going to start the full next day, and then you'll probably end that following day around 2 or 3 in the morning doing all the initial intake paperwork and whatever else they have you do. I would say I was awake for about 36 to 48 hours. I remember at the very end of it, I was having trouble spelling my name and all the endless paperwork you have to do. So just be prepared for that. You're going to be super tired, and it's going to not be fun. Just to give you an idea of how robotic it is and how unindividualized the process will be, I shaved my head before I went to reception so I could save that $20 on a haircut. They're going to collect everyone's little P card, which is a purchase card that you get there while you're in reception. And I still got charged for my haircut just because everyone's going to do the exact same thing no matter what. So keep that in mind. I saw some people actually purchase combat boots and try to bring them in. You're not going to keep them. They're going to go away. So hopefully your recruiters will guide you correctly, but don't get a haircut. Don't bring anything that you think you need for basic training, because you're just going to have to buy it anyways. Now, I would make the argument that my drill sergeants in my reception battalion were much more intense than my drill sergeants at basic and actual infantry training. And talking to some people when I was actually in service, and since I've been out and some of my buddies becoming drill sergeants, majority of people that are drill sergeants in reception, from my understanding, have gone in trouble at some point being regular drill sergeants. So a lot of them have a little attitude, a little chip on their shoulder, because they don't want to do this mundane stuff every single day, which makes them a little extra angry. So that really caused some turbulence for what people thought they were going to get when they came in, and thought that was what it's going to be like in the Army for the duration of their training. But again, keep in mind, once you get through reception, it's going to be a lot easier after that. One of the times it stood out where I saw a big contrast between the drill sergeants at reception and actual training. So we're getting smoked for some reason. I don't remember what we did, but everyone's in formation doing push-ups. I just heard someone yell. I looked up, and I saw a drill sergeant looked like he was going to swing on someone that was in push-up position, and 2 other drill sergeants came from behind him and put him in a full Nelson and pulled him off. Ironically, I ended up going to my unit, and that drill sergeant came to my unit in a different battalion, and I eased my way in the conversation. Of course, he didn't remember me. I was like, do you remember like what pissed you off so much? And his response was something to the effect of, he said he wasn't doing more push-ups. I just went black and snapped. I was like, oh, okay. Now I see why you're a reception drill sergeant. But you are going to get smoked there. Again, I think it was a little bit worse than actual basic and infantry training. So again, don't enlist during a federal holiday so you don't have to be there as long. There's also a lot of E5s and a couple staff sergeants I went through a battalion with because they're prior service or they're different MOSs in the Army, and they wanted to go, whether it's just base infantry or also want to go special forces or rangers, so they still had to go through infantry training. They did not receive any special treatment, which really surprised me. They were still having to do all the formations, still reciting the infantryman's creed, the soldier's creed, or they didn't know that they get eat just like all the brand new privates. And they still had to do all the smoking sessions and do all the remedial stuff. So if you're prior service or you're coming to a different reception, just expect that you're going to be just like the rest of the privates, which I thought was a little strange because when I got to actual basic training in infantry school, the prior enlisted that were there, they did get a little better treatment just because they had been in service. But reception, again, everything's robotic. There's no individuality, so be prepared for that. You're going to have a shark attack at reception battalion too. Again, I think the one in reception was way worse than the one in basic training. The basic training one, yeah, you got smoked a little worse, and it was a little more chaotic, but it wasn't super, I guess, stereotypical where there's 10 drill sergeants on you and they're making you throw things above your head and things are being thrown and hitting some people. The one in reception, that shark attack, they were tearing the bunk beds apart, throwing them across the room, it was hitting some people. And they individually went to each soldier that was there and just got in their face and chewed them out, tried to get them to do commands. Of course, you can't understand what they're saying because there's so many on you at the same time. And made you do things like duck walks, backwards bear crawls in the walls, stuff like that. When you're in basic, unless you're standing out, it's group. So you don't have that individual attention. There, they made sure every single one got a little personal shark attack, which is the one time that is individualized. But I think that shark attack was much worse than the basic training one. So don't think that it's not going to come there. Ours came, it was in the middle of the night when they did it. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Unlike the one in basic where you know it's coming, you get off the bus, they do the shark attack. It's going to be random at some point in reception. So don't let your guard down. Obviously getting smoked is part of the military and doing remedial physical exercise. No big deal. But the thing that I think that made reception just so bad is you're going to stand in line for 12 hours a day at parade rest. You can't obviously lean on anything or look around. You're just going to be staying at parade rest the whole entire day. Once someone goes through whatever you're waiting in line for, the person in front of you comes out of parade rest, goes to attention, takes one step, goes back to parade rest. And then you do the same thing. And that's just all you're going to do the whole time you're actually going through the reception process. Which I personally rather be in the field getting smoked because there's highs and lows between regular training. And at least there's something to occupy your mind. When you're just staying at parade rest for hours and hours and hours, you're mentally there the whole entire time. And your shoulders start to hurt, your knees start to hurt. There's only so many things you can think about to try to get you through the day. Which, again, getting smoked is one thing. Just standing there with nothing to do for days and days and days and days on end, I think is way, way worse. But everyone has to go through that. So if you're concerned about getting smoked or XYZ training, I promise you, when you're at reception, you're going to be excited to actually go to whatever training you're going to do. Because, again, when you're actually learning stuff, yeah, it's a little harder. It's a little more physical, but it gets you through the day so much quicker. Just be prepared for endless lines for about a week at least if you go on those off times. Hopefully you can get through in a week during the regular rotation periods, but it's going to suck. It is going to suck a lot. I hope you don't have a fear of needles when you enlist because you're going to get a ton of shots. Everyone's going to be in line with their sleeves rolled up, and you're just going to walk through this line. As you walk through, they're going to stick you in the arm, and you're just going to go through. I think I got like 7 shots in total. And of course, you're going to get the peanut butter shot, which is a tetanus shot, which they do in your butt cheek. And right after you do it, they're going to make you do flutter kicks forever, and it's going to hurt, but it is what it is, and they're going to make you do it the next day too because it hurts even more. There's this guy that has a couple people in front of me, huge dude, like 6'6", just built out of solid steel. He was terrified of needles, and he was trying to refuse to get any shots. And he's screaming, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. But one of these medics that were there convinced him after a while to go in this room with him so they could talk about it and get this figured out. Once he won that room, I heard some rustling, and it sounded like a little bit of tears coming out, but I couldn't see it until I got far enough in line. So I kind of looked over, and I saw that like 5 soldiers had him pinned down, and they're all just giving him his shots down there, and he had some tears coming out. I felt so bad for him, but I hope you don't have a fear of needles when you go in, because you're going to get those shots one way or another, and you don't want to get them that way. Now, you will see some strange things like that in battalion. Like there's one kid that refused to eat his vegetables. Since he didn't want to eat his vegetables, no one ate the vegetables and had to leave, and he didn't have a good time that night in the barracks. So just, again, don't stand out. That's all training ever is, don't stand out, and you'll be fine. The worst part is some people did quit in reception because they thought that's what they were going to have for the next 3 years. The very last day, the one that stood out to me most was the very last day we were getting ready to go on our buses, and this kid just stood up and said, I'm done. I don't want to be in the military. And we had a first sergeant there that tried to talk to him about it, which he tried to say, I'm a Christian, so I can't really enlist in the infantry because I might have to kill someone. And the drill sergeant made his case, XYZ. You never know what's going to happen. But he said, he ended up just saying, I don't want to be here. This is horrible. I'm going home. And there's a couple people that, just disappeared at some point. Yeah, reception's going to be the worst part. I hope the recruiters let you know. I hope this helps inform you a little bit. But just get through reception. It'll be downhill from there. But don't quit during reception. That's the worst thing. You'll regret it. But I promise you, once you get through that part, then you're going to start actually training. The days will go by quicker. You'll get out of training, go to your actual unit, and then it's almost like having a regular job. So just get through reception. But for all you enlisting, I hope this video helped a little bit. And if you're watching this after you served, I hope this jogs some memories. If you have something similar, please share below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day.